I'm Amber.
And I'm Nate.
And we are Tominator Pictures. And we're also So What Happens Next, but more about that another time. This, though, is the first episode of our first ever commentary watch-along deal for our first ever web series, Be Blue to Yourself. Yeah, so exactly. So yeah, we all made a YouTube web series that you guys might have seen called Be Blue to Yourself that follows Romestamo, played by me, and Marinatar, played by Nate, on a not so epic quest to help the Fellowship of the Ring destroy the One Ring and save Middle Earth and blah. No big deal. Not really that important. We had a lot of fun making it, and we realized there was a ton that we planned or that was like a behind the scenes thing that we didn't really get to. It's like I can't really explain it when we're just doing the whole deal. But yeah, I have joining me, like I said, Nate, Marinatar himself, and also a surprise character, but we can talk about that when we get to the end of everything. And then Amber, who played literally everybody else.
Sounds about right.
So yeah, guys, like before we get started, I have to say, if I recall, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure this was like a weird random comment, Amber, I think you made to me about like, what if the other two wizards were like, and I think you were like, that, that story, and I was like, what story? And you're like, that not Hamlet? And I was like, oh, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And that hit me like lightning. I was like, oh, fuck. And so, for you guys who don't know, I basically spam Nate with silly ideas when they hit me. So if it's like 6 a.m., it's kind of like, I always think of that SpongeBob gag where it's like,
who wants a Krabby Patty at 3 in the morning?
Oh boy, 3 a.m.
And I'm always just like, that's that. I feel like so I'm sorry if I annoy you, Nate. That's just where I hit with like the idea. So I texted Nate and I was like, dude, we should do this. And then yeah, we all ended up in Seattle because stars aligned, and we filmed this in a day and a half. But yeah, I guess like we're gonna be talking about the first episode here. So guys, like, what are some of the stuff you guys remember from at least the shooting of the scenes that make up the first episode?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing to point out is that the very first scene that we see here is the last scene that we filmed for the whole weekend. So I think if any of us seem like pretty exhausted at this point, then that's why. But we'll see.
Yeah, we definitely speed ran that one a little bit. I remember it's like everyone was like, can we just get this fucking done?
Yeah, I was so afraid that we were going to get like kicked out because we found basically the basement of the hotel that I was staying in.
Yeah. And
it was just quiet and like you could hear the AC going. But yeah, I just was afraid that somebody was just going to wander down and be like, get out, guys.
Well, I will point out, before we even get to it now, those AC noises in the episode, I added that.
Oh, okay. But I thought I could hear it too, like down there.
Maybe in like the stairwell, because I know we
Yeah.
like did some weird shooting stuff in the stairwell, but like, yeah, I remember sitting there and there was some scene, I think, Amber, where you're specifically talking, and I was like, God damn, this is so quiet. And I was like, I need like office ambient noise, but I didn't want like people shuffling papers or anything. I just wanted almost like this ambient room. And so I like did some digging and found like ambient office noise, and I was just like, oh, this is perfect. And it's just air conditioner droning in the background.
It was certainly creepy down there too, and I think there were legitimately offices down there as well.
Oh yeah.
which is so weird for a hotel, but I digress.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the hotel, and I'm not going to name drop it just in case they watch this and they're like, wait a minute, you weren't supposed to be there.
Unless they want to sponsor us.
Yeah, if they want to sponsor us, then, reach out. But there was a conference that took place in, when did we film this? January? Like at the beginning of January?
Yes. In
Yeah.
like the first week of January, I think.
Gotcha. Well, if you had a conference going on that day and you're in Seattle proper and you want to sponsor us, maybe we don't have to sneak around your building next time. All right. Amber, do you have any other fond memories of like the shooting of this? At least in the whole.
I think just seeing it all come together at the end, at least for this episode, and like all the music that got put into it, that always cracks me up. And of course we're going to see that, a little bit, but I just loved how it had that office aspect to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you guys are ready, I'm ready. Shall I hit play?
Yes.
You shall.
All right, let's do it to it, gang.
Are there any?
What?
Other wizards?
There are 5 of us. The greatest of our order is Saruman, the white. Then there are the 2 blue wizards. I've quite forgotten their names.
Sorry to pause right here off the bat. But I just wanted to thank Peter Jackson for allowing us to use that clip in the beginning. It's very nice of him.
But they didn't stop me.
Fair. His tacit agreement.
Yeah, I like to think he's somewhere in New Zealand, just like, hey, that's pretty clever then. Like, I just like speaking of that little intro bit, since we're there, that was so this intro, I feel like I was an asshole about this because that was like the last thing we filmed, and I was so hell bent on like filming, like I had the intro in my mind, and I'm like, we have to do it in the hotel, we have to do it like this, and I remember you guys were just like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Let's just. What do you want us to do? I'm like, no, I have an idea. It's like I'm gonna roll with it. But like that little clip, I remember. I think we were like watching The Hobbit, and I was like, oh, that would be fucking smart because he says it, but it wasn't mystical enough. So like I tried to slow down Gandalf's voice at the end, and that's why he sounds like he's on drugs.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't quite remember their name.
I mean, it's all that smoking, right?
Yeah, it's all it's foreshadowing.
Yes.
All right, let's keep it going.
Here again. Great.
That music.
I love what they've done with the place.
Byron wants to see you.
Alright. I gotta say it. I know we just paused, but like how I just said I was so hell-bent on like the intro. For any of you who've watched this already, this is not the song I wanted in the intro.
No, it's not as good.
It's not. And I can't post this episode to YouTube and put the song I want in there unless we just keep talking over it, which just defeats the purpose. However, I actually forgot to take it out of the credits, so it's like in the credits for this and the full-length version.
Oops.
It was originally The Blue Wrath by I Monster, I think is the name of the group. So if you've seen Shaun of the Dead, it's the same like piece of intro music they use in that, and a similar style, like moving the credits along and then cutting. we didn't quite do that because of the limitations of the room, but like I kind of like how it squishes, like how it expands and squishes against the wall. Like, I thought that was fun. But you know, one day maybe we'll like stream it on Twitch or Discord or something one day. We'll just do like the full version and you guys can actually hear what this was supposed to sound like, because this is just like a YouTube song. I was like, this sounds peppy enough, like let's go with it. Anyway. I didn't realize I started the tape.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that it's crazy how much we got, like how much use we got out of that small space.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so towards the end, when you guys are kind of like walking up, acting like you're, you know, taking the stairs, basically, that always cracks me up too. And I'm just like, it's good use. And then having the camera like spinning around, I remember you were kind of like directing me to do that, Thomas.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool.
That was fun. I feel like that was clever because we had set up my suitcase and put the camera on the suitcase so you could like swivel it.
Oh, that's right.
And then we'd like whip it and then whip it back in order to get the whip thing. And then I would speed it up. I'm just really happy we didn't stop recording when we filmed that so that I could do the whole sped up everything going everywhere. And then it would be us coming up the stairs and then around the corner. Because really that was like, I think I sped that up like 1,300 times or whatever the heck it was. Like 45 minutes of footage and I just like sped it up to a 2-second span or some crazy shit. And then we like stuck the, what's it called, the script, because I think it's the cover page for the script, right? And then we like stuck it to the door so it looked like we were going into an office. Yeah, no, that was great.
Sit down.
I love your hands on the hips.
I might pause it again here just to appreciate Thomas's shoes for this scene and no other scene.
Yeah, I was gonna wait, but yeah, no. So the shoe. Let's tell the shoe story. So like, the night before we shot this, me and Nate were sitting in our hotel room, and we were like, we gotta make props. And so I had spent the entire day before Nate got to Seattle. Like, I was in Seattle for most of the day, and I was like trying to find a pair of boots that looked marginally medieval. Like, I wanted them to not have like laces at least, but everything I found either wasn't my size because I have big ass feet, or they were like just really expensive. Like, I went to a boot barn and I'm like, they gotta have some kind of clearance. Like, dude, that place was like Cowboy Boot City, and it was like $100 minimum charge for any boots. I'm like, I'm not gonna drop, no. Let alone, I don't want cowboy boots, so it's just gonna look fucking weird. So, yeah, we were like, I was like, I can make my own shoes, because at the time, not in this scene, in the next scene, I'm wearing shoes that are identical to these. I think I got them that day, but these are new shoes that look identical to my old shoes that I attempted to staple pieces of a leather handbag to make them look like medieval looking shoes, and they look good. You go check our Instagram. There's a picture of them. They looked good for about maybe 3 minutes before getting out of the car.
Yeah, did not make it through those Washington mountains there.
Didn't even make it through the parking lot. Like, I think by the time we got to the parking lot, I was like, oh shit. And then like I kept walking and all the leather had come off. And I was like, ah, hell. And then I said, fuck it. And we got to a Walmart, I think out in the middle of nowhere. Somewhere like northwest of Washington or something. And I was just like, fuck it. I'm just buying a cheap pair of boots. And those are what I wear for the majority of this series. But then, of course, we filmed, and we'll talk more about this in the future, but episode 4 was filmed before everything, where I had an even more different pair of shoes. So I was trying to hide those throughout the shooting. So the shoes are like, we kind of decided the shoes are like our low-key inside joke for the duration of People to Yourself. But yeah, no, that was harsh, walking through all the mud with ripped open Vans. That wasn't fun. I would not advise people do that. That was not fun.
Now, Alatar, Flando.
It's actually Romastamo.
And Marinatar.
I'm sorry, it's so hard watching yourself because of the facial expressions that you sometimes make, and you were just like, wow, like.
So this is all looped. Like, it's the same shot. Like, Nate, you nodded so consistently that I could just keep looping it. But Amber sat there long enough to where there was just enough to like cut between with it, and so she keeps changing, but you just keep.
As I was saying, Alatar, Flando. Okay, Marinatar, Romastamo.
Yes.
You guys have been gone for quite a while now.
Have we? I mean, maybe a little bit.
I love what you've done with the place since we've been gone.
Thank you.
Microphone issues.
Why don't you take a look at your robes, though? See anything new?
You got it's a hole.
You're burnt.
Kind of seems.
Can you guess what that's from?
Flagrant misuse of magic.
Usually fires?
Not exactly. It's when Saruman killed you.
Saruman killed us?
Yes.
Saruman the white.
Yes.
I love these jokes and how they keep going
No.
through
Or the
like
red?
the entire like
Purple.
episodes, I guess, where it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like who,
Wait.
like Gandalf who,
What about-
Saruman who,
You sure this is brown? You sure not red?
going
Not
through all the
tan?
colors of the rainbow.
I think this part is one of my favorite parts of the color joke.
Green? I mean, we don't even know if it's white. Maybe
Yeah.
off-white.
Eggshell.
As I was saying, you both have been dead for quite a while, thanks to Saruman the White. And now I have an important task for the both of you.
That's totally cool. No problem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. We take care of important tasks all the time.
So I am tasking you with helping out at Halflane with destroying the One Ring.
No problem. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, sure.
Let's take care of that right now.
This is important, you guys. This is the One
The
Ring.
big, I think the script note for that
What's so special
was
about the
like,
ring?
I think we wrote like Blues Brothers Meet the Penguin or something like that from
Oh.
the movie, because he says like, yeah, no problem, we'll have the money for you by the end of the day, and she's like, no, except it was like, make it demonic. Like,
Too bad I wasn't floating in that scene.
I wish looking back on it, I really wonder if I could have like rotoed you out and then lifted you up a little bit in the glow, and you could have just been like, no, sit down, and then come back down. But that would have been so much. Oh man, it was tough enough just doing the colors, like the colors in the eyes and shit.
Yeah.
So I
Next
learned
time.
so much about editing during this, you guys. Like, I knew some things, but this was like a whole new level of like, oh, how do I do this shit?
It's the One Ring.
There's only one of them, or
I'm sure I've seen other rings.
I've seen a few.
Yeah.
I think I used to have a ring.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was nice. But Cameron, but we died.
Listen, this is the One Ring to rule them all.
Oh, it's a poem.
What, poem?
Yeah, the poem, you know. One ring to rule them all. One ring to fight them. One ring to rule.
Enough. As I was saying, you need to help
That
out this
vocal effect came
halfling
through so well.
who
I'm so proud
apparently
of it.
received the One
Like,
Ring
it's me.
from his.
It's me doing the black speech, and then I just tweaked my voice, and it just sounds like so clean. Like, it just sounds like I ripped off more Peter Jackson shit. And I was like, no, this is actually like my own creation. But I remember, like, the quick story I have about that was I remember when I was editing, I was like, oh, I got to put the black speech in. And so I Googled it, and I was like, how do you, like, say this? Like, how do you pronounce black speech? And it was like, okay, I think it was Wikipedia was like, this is it. And it had a little audio thing. So I listened to it for like 5 minutes straight. Like, how do you pronounce this language? And then it gave like, I fell down a rabbit hole for like 20 minutes because it was like, this is how Tolkien designed the black speech language. There's a lot of Z's. And I was like, oh, because it's like, Aznaz, Gazlasta, Aznaz, Gurdasta. And I was like, whoa, okay. And I had to listen to it, and I was like, okay, I got to, like, pitch it down. And Aznaz, Lord of God. And, yeah, I just went with it. But it was fun, but it was weird.
Uncle, about 50 or so years ago.
Why does Uncle have?
Is his Uncle Sauron?
Is his Uncle Sauron?
No.
So Sauron gave the uncle the ring.
No. Somehow this Bilbo Baggins acquired the One Ring.
Points for
Fuck
alliteration.
Bilbo Baggins.
So anyways, Gandalf the Grey, who you both are most familiar with. Gandalf the Grey has created a fellowship
That
of
line is burned into my
sorts,
head
very diverse,
because of how I had to edit it.
to destroy the One Ring.
So, like, I gotta say this because it drives me nuts every time I hear it. Nate, you're me too, eh? And you're specifically the shk 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 of you like shuffling around.
Yeah.
That I don't remember why, but I had to edit that for a good bit. Like, there was something there where I was like trying to cut it right, and so I kept playing it over and over and over, and I kept hearing you say, "Yeah, me too, eh?" And it's just like every time I can hear I can count the shakes. I know exactly how many there's gonna be.
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Every time I watch it, it's not your fault. There was something like it had to do with the joke. Like, you did it, and then Amber, I think you were like I don't remember the line or something, so I had to like cut it to get it right in line with itself, and then it's just resulted in me hearing Nate, you say that over and over and over and over. Probably more than anything in this entire show.
Sorry about Gandalf the Grey. I mean, I always kind of thought of him as more of an off-white.
There's only one Gandalf.
I don't know. There could be another one. You know, he's not Gandalf.
So for you two,
For future
your
reference,
job
that
is
joke
to
is my
make
biggest
sure
regret,
that the
and I
One
will talk
Ring is
more about it in
destroyed, and to
episode
help
6.
this fellowship out in any way possible. Do you think you guys could do that?
Yeah, no problem. We do stuff all the time. We'll be fine.
Are you sure about that?
I don't like how she's saying that.
I don't get how this could be too difficult.
Remember the one time that you persuaded the kings to take in Saruman's gifts?
I knew this was coming. I was like,
The next one is my favorite joke, at least in this episode.
Wow.
And thanks again, Peter.
It's
Yeah,
like
thanks,
that,
Pete.
right?
Very persuasive, yeah.
Very persuasive. And they were nice gifts.
And remember when you told Smaug to check out Erebor?
It's the fact that in that clip there's a man that screams, "Oh God!" That's just like there's nothing better. Like I couldn't have added anything to make it better. And I very much like how people reached out to me like after this was done, like the first episode, and they were like, "That Smaug joke is the funniest shit like I've ever seen." And I just love how we're both like, and then hard cut.
Yeah.
I think even the timing of that yell and then back into the scene is pretty perfect too.
Oh yeah, I was like, that was a fluke. Like it was all a fluke. I didn't really even think about the "oh God" scene or scream. I was just like, it really should be shorter. Like I didn't want to drag it all out because the scene itself was like really long. So I was like, I'm just gonna shorten it a little bit, and it just clipped so well. And I'm like, this is beautiful. Just like this dude getting fucking roasted, and then it's back to the office.
How the dwarves ended up after that fiasco?
Hey, God. Right?
I haven't personally
It
seen
also
it.
destroyed a nearby human town because of that.
There's lots of those. One.
Enough. So make sure you don't screw up this one thing.
Right? Cool. Yeah. We're done. No worries.
Good, because if you don't do this, this will be it.
It?
There will be
Like,
nothing.
no
There will be no
concept of,
Shire.
like, no
There will
afterlife.
be no men.
Right. Yeah, I'm really good. I mean,
You
Shire.
two will be dead, and there will be no going out west.
Well, we've been dead before.
But, I mean, yeah, what do you mean not going west? Like, we're wizards. We live
No, you will be dead
like,
if you fail your mission.
dead?
Yes.
Gone.
No afterlife.
Oh. Well, you still come back here, have a one-on-one.
No meetings either.
Not even for like a progress check.
Nope.
Progress check.
So I leave this in your hands. Your capable hands.
That's us.
I love the idea that like Gandalf getting to come back as Gandalf the White wasn't a fluke or like an exception. Like it's like the rule and we've just abused it. And then on top of that, I remember when we were doing this one, Amber, I remember you read that like last line you say where you're like your capable hands, and I remember we were like, you lean into it, like be like, imagine that like most sickeningly sweet corporate boss you've ever had and just do it. And you like right then I remember you were like, okay, and just like your capable hands.
Who are you thinking of?
Yeah, and I just love how I have that like fake smile as well. Like I'm just like, yeah, you can totally do it. It's like, no, they're not gonna do it at all.
I also like how in the Smaug part, Nate, you like start to kind of almost like kiss her ass a little bit and throw me under the bus, where it's like, I mean, I don't know, and you're like, I think they got back fine, and you're like, I haven't really personally seen it, like
Right, Mo?
That's
capable fellas.
It's us.
Now, if you don't mind, I have other things that I need to get to.
Other things more important than us.
Absolutely. But it was nice seeing you boys. Please be sure to take good care of yourselves.
Yeah.
The fate of the world rests in your hands.
No pressure.
Yeah, that's
Great. Great.
Thanks, boss.
Yeah.
Now get out.
Hard
cut.
Never get used to that.
And there's the shoes. The leather was falling off before I was even done getting on the ground.
I've been here before. Yeah, this is where Saruman killed us.
Everything is so crisp.
I know.
What?
This
some shade of it.
The lighting here, when I was like editing, especially compared to like the awful lighting of the previous sequence, like was so good. It was a perfect filming day here. Where were we? We were at, I don't even, Amber, this was that place you told us about.
Yeah, I totally forgot.
Was it Twin Falls? Is that what it was called?
Oh, Twin Falls.
Sounds
You're right.
about right.
Yeah, Twin Falls.
But I remember you were like, oh, we should go here because we hiked here the other day. And we were like, okay, cool, perfect. And it was perfect. It was too perfect because everybody, and quite literally their fucking mother, came to just be in the background of all of our shots. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
like
I'm so mad.
5 feet
Yeah.
above this shot right now is the path with all the people walking by.
Oh, yeah. Go check out our blooper reels if you want to know just how brutal that actually became. Because it's like, if you see where Nate's sitting, like, there's those rocks. That is, like, the base of a trail, more or less. And they're all just up there. And I remember we had a great idea. I think it was a great idea. I don't remember who said it, but I think it was a great idea where we were like, oh, in Nate, your solo episode, it was going to be kind of like you went back to where it all started, like where the whole thing started, because it was supposed to be this, like, I don't know what to do anymore. And then we were going to do it, and we started shooting it, and then people kept fucking coming around, and it was just like, we can't do it. It just was so, I was mad. I was mad. Because I was really looking forward to shooting right there.
Friends never say goodbye. Never say goodbye. Never say goodbye.
Hey, Marina Tar.
Who on earth are you?
It's actually Middleburg.
It's gonna get tough. We might want to do this somewhere else.
That's fine. Yeah, because it's gonna be
Yeah.
busy. Okay.
Okay.
For the first scene, can you ADR that?
I could.
Because we do
That's
have good
like
video.
vacation.
We do have great video. Like, we could make it work. Let me stop this.
Otherwise,
yeah,
we at
it
least
was
get this
just
bit.
one of those days where everybody was like, I have to go hiking, you know? So.
It destroyed my shoes. I wouldn't have hiked. It was raining. I was
Yeah,
hoping
that's true.
we wouldn't have to do that. I was hoping, oh, it's raining. No one will be here. Apparently, people are just used to it.
Yeah, there are people running too. I was like, man,
I
someone's
wouldn't
gonna
run.
fall on their face.
I would have busted my ass. Like,
Yeah.
I was scared to walk.
Yeah, but we sure did get some looks, and I can't wait to talk about like the last episode with like the people that were also there at that lake, and some of them trying to chat us up too. Great.
Oh yeah.
I just think of that. You know what? We'll talk about it. I think it's in episode 2 when the big fisherman guy comes around. So
Oh, yeah.
we can talk about that next time.
You sure, like, not Saruman the Purple?
Orange?
I mean, it could be awful.
Maybe red?
We really should pay this guy a visit. I mean, I don't really think Saruman the White would really do this.
I'm starting to have some questions about him, but maybe we should.
Yeah, we should go let's do what we're saying.
No, we have a mission.
Land deposit. I just wanted to point out all of my lines here are ADR.
Yeah.
Because the mic didn't pick up any of this shit when we first recorded it.
Yeah, that was like the weirdest. That is how we started, and that's how we ended, which is weird because the same exact thing happened in the last episode. But yeah, the mic didn't pick up. Like we were still trying to get it straight, and it didn't pick up your talking. And so I remember like going to edit and just being like, "Oh fuck!" Like none of it. Because these guys, we like to think of ourselves as a very professional organization, but when it comes to dailies and we only film for a day, then it kind of doesn't matter. But yeah, no, it was like, oh fuck, we can't like reshoot this. So, but Nate, you did a fantastic job ADRing. I mean, round of fucking applause for Nate, because you were like, I was like, all right, you know, like it's gonna be kind of tough, like, but here's the clip, you know, this is generally what you say. Let me know if you want me to like go through it with you or anything like that. And you're like, okay. And then you just were like, here you go. I hope it's good. And it was like perfect. Like there's like one line. There's one line where you were like, oh, I didn't read that right. Let me do it again. And in the recording anyway. And then you tacked it on at the end. And I was like, first of all, perfect approach. Like that was exactly what I was hoping, is like keep it isolated and I could just move it over. But I was like, you know what? No. I liked how you said things in the first one, so I just like compressed it a little bit and made it a little faster, and it fit perfect. So I was like, fuck, this is great. But yeah, dude, you were an ADR god. You just able to like watch your mouth and just like say it. Fantastic work.
Oh, yeah. What's the mission again?
Did you forget already?
Did we?
Hold on.
Oh no.
Oh, it froze. There it goes.
There.
Maybe. I mean, I could help with some reminders.
We gotta get the Hobbit to Mordor.
Hobbit to Mordor. That seems like a
Why is it doing this?
terrible place for a Hobbit. Why would we take him there?
He's got the ring.
The ring.
The One Ring.
What one ring?
The One Ring.
The ring. What's so important about the ring?
It's Sauron's ring.
What's the Hobbit doing with Sauron's ring?
You found it?
Found it. Oh, yeah. I remember. Sorry, I'm a bit groggy after the nap. I mean, it was a long time.
We were dead.
Dead?
We really need to get moving.
Right.
I love the
But
tilt,
what direction?
Amber. That was fantastic.
Well, I think first things first, we should probably start with breakfast.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll just whip us up some breakfast out of thin air. Or maybe it's your turn to make breakfast if you want to do that.
Well, I mean, I don't really remember. I mean, we've been dead after all, but it could be my turn. That's no problem.
Wait, what? How?
Okay, why did we settle on muffins in the first place?
I don't know.
That's a really good question.
Yeah. You guys just showed up with a bunch of muffins, like from Costco.
Well, I remember hunting the muffins down, but there in the scripting there was like we have to do some kind of pastry or something. Like the whole AS joke with the muffin, and then later on with other pastries, just like that existed, and I wish I could remember why we came up with that in the first place.
I think it was just we wrote this joke first.
And it was just like they used their awesome magical power to do something really mundane.
Yeah. And especially like breakfast foods.
Yeah. Well, it worked out with the breakfast because like they just woke up and stuff. Yeah. I like how so when I originally had magical things happen when I first edited, so I edited episode 4 first, as like a proof of concept of stuff for everybody. And then during that, I had placeholder music, and one of the placeholders I had was for this. So you have that like Middle Eastern cry kind of thing that I ripped off YouTube, right? It's like it was originally the one from Dune, like no shame. I just totally got that thing going on.
I am Nomistama Blue.
Blue what?
The blue wizard, of course.
Please don't sue us, Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer don't. I mean, it's not in here anymore, but
Oh, okay.
the original one exists. I think that sounds better.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Did you do that?
It's breakfast time. You said it was my turn.
But a muffin?
Well, I figure it's not quite tea time yet. So, if we are where Saruman left us, assuming
they can just see
Saruman
my
did kill
mic
us,
shamelessly,
then that means the sun hasn't quite got to the midday yet. Which means...
Gotta put it in the center camera.
Yeah.
Yep.
We need to be heading west.
But that's just my opinion anyway.
Well, you're the expert.
All right, let's go.
Love the music.
Oh yeah. Big thanks to Katie Beldy. I'm sorry if I said your last name wrong. Huge thanks to her for letting us use this, and everybody who let us use your like medieval bard music for our show. Like, it was really fun to hear how hyped everybody was when I was like, "Hey, we're doing this stupid Lord of the Rings thing," and I remember, I think it was her. She said, "That is like exactly what I'd want my music to be used for." So I was like, "Oh hell yeah! Well, guess what? Like, you're gonna be in the first episode." But yeah, I love just the blue. What is Mr. Blue Sky? I think her version's called Sir Sky of Blue.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, we tried to hunt down music that incorporated the word blue in it as much as we could. But that was a great one. That was a solid musical choice, and I'm really happy. I'm also really happy because a lot of people warned me. Her and Cornelius Link, another fellow who let us use his music later in the show, he was telling me that like we had to be careful because one of the things that he ran into, and she was telling me the same thing, is like when you cover a song, the person who owns the song kind of can be like, "Hey, this is my song," and so you don't like have the rights to it. So like if we wanted to like really make this like a legit thing, we'd have to go to Electric Light Orchestra and be like, "We want to use this version of your song," and then go from there. And that's why I had to be like performed and arranged by her, but originally written by Electric Light Orchestra or whatever it was. But yeah, but that's episode 1. That's a whole episode. That's the whole first episode.
Yeah, that's great. And I think by this point, people get like a taste of like the difference between the two characters, and so Romastamo and Marina Tar, with Marina Tar being like the more serious one, and that'll of course like escalate as the episodes continue to go on. And then Romastamo being kind of like the jokey kind of character, like doesn't really like takes everything kind of like a joke, and it just doesn't take things seriously.
Yeah, I think if there's, well, you know what, I'll ask you guys, and maybe this is like for me and Nate, well no, because Amber, you're in this episode a lot. If there's one thing each of you could change about this first episode, whether it's like your performance or my editing or like even just the scripting, what would it be? Or is it just perfect?
I think for me, being able to like memorize more lines, and now I understand why it's so hard for actors. And I guess some of them are really good at acting, but for me, I was just like, oh my God, I would forget my lines and like what to say next. And I guess that comes with experience maybe, but ultimately, like during that time, I was just like, so I wish I could have said more, you know?
Yeah, I think just like all of our inexperience at doing this, since it's our first project, but yeah, and I guess what we said earlier about like it would have been nice to film my solo scene the same place that we filmed the first scene, but
yeah, I feel like kind of jumping off of yours, Nate, because like the remembering the lines, absolutely. Like I feel like we winged it so much. Like we'd read the script enough to know where we wanted it to go, but we didn't always get there the way we wrote it. And I don't know, there are some jokes where I'm like, yeah, if we had read it like straight from the page, it would have been like more concise, but I think it ended up okay. But to me, I kind of wish we had like we didn't press ourselves so hard for time on that day, because like all the stuff, like waking up in Middle Earth, that all was the first thing we shot like of that day. We just drove out there, and part of me is almost like wondering if we had just like hiked a little further, could we have found like an equally as good but maybe slightly more secluded spot? But then we would have been there the whole day, so it would have been the same deal, you know?
Yeah. Weather was not our friend that day.
No, not until we got to Deception Pass. Then everything was like stellar.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
But yeah, so I think, that's episode 1. There's definitely, like, speaking of Deception Pass, get ready for episode 2. We're gonna be releasing these, I think, the same as the episodes, so like once every other week. So not next week, but the week after. You can expect episode 2 of our Be Blue to Yourself commentary. Be Blue to Ourselves. Maybe that's how we call it. There you go.
Oh, that would be amazing. Nice.
But yeah, so you can expect this next episode in a couple weeks. But let us know, like, what are your thoughts about the show, about this episode? Is this just like really annoying hearing us talk over these things? But we also have we're kind of bringing back So What Happens Next pretty soon. So you can expect some of our like episodes that have been sitting around for a really long time that we never got around to releasing. And then the 3 of us are going to be coming back with it, with like all new fresh episodes, in the future, after we're done kind of going through these, but definitely sooner than you think. So definitely check that out. Catch up on those episodes. I know I'm going to have to, because I haven't listened to it in a long time. But yeah. So anything else you guys got going on that like want to throw out there? Amber, you have a podcast. Why are we throwing that? That's right. You have a podcast.
I guess I'll plug that. But I have a podcast that I co-host with 2 of my other friends, and it's more science education centered, but it's called Getting Fishy with It. And basically we talk about all things fish related. Sometimes we don't talk about fish, like jellyfish, which are not really fish, FYI. Or we just recently had a month where all we talked about was shrimp. We became Getting Shrimpy with It. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, we're on basically wherever you get your podcasts. And we've been doing it for, I think, about a year. So we definitely have a lot of different episodes that people can listen to.
Cool. I kind of wanted to be like, friends, nobody likes you.
Thanks.
You don't have any friends. But
or maybe they just put up with me. I'm not really sure. So.
They're all in it for the
their
ring.
episodes.
Behind the scenes, they're like, "Oh, can you get on with it?" Nate, you got anything going on in the near future?
Not at the moment. Yeah, I have like a project I'm sort of sitting on, but I don't really have any concrete release date for that yet.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to it. Maybe even throw some plugs in when this concludes. But more, of course, about that later. But until next next week, I am Thomas.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Nate.
And this is the Be Blue to Ourselves Tominator Pictures Be Blue to Yourself commentary. That's the whole title. That's the whole thing. It's gonna be the whole thing.
That's a mouthful.
I'll do the same. It's BBTO :
I was like, where are you going with that?
We're gonna make an acronym. The world's longest acronym. But we will see you guys next time.